Well, people have waited with bated breath for another edition of Toots' Tips with Jimmy Toots Holmes, brought to you by the Huddle House. And hey, I had breakfast out there yesterday morning.
Well, I had supper out there last night.
Did you?
And of course, Wednesday is our ritual out there for a good breakfast. And my wife and I went out last night and had another breakfast. So, good place to go, good place to eat. Run into a lot of people that I know and talk to some that I didn't know. Mm-hmm. But it's a good place for just a nice family atmosphere. And of course, Doug and all the servers out there, they're just good people.
Doug actually, he'll come by your table. He sat down with me the other day when I was out there.
He will
do friendly
that.
Guy. And so the Huddle House, any meal on the menu, 24/7. And boy, they've got some menu items, don't they?
I'm telling you, they do. I always pretty much stick with my regular diet. Is a good word.
Is that what that's called?
Yeah, for lack of words, we'll stay with diet. But it is a great place to eat. And like I say, all the servers. Last night I dealt with Amy and Kelly. And they had a new lady out there and met her. But just a good place to go.
They have, and it's amazing how this works. They've got a lot of employees that have been there forever.
They have. I know, of course, Amy's been there for a long time. Kelly's been there for a long time. Tammy's been there for a long time. Cheryl's been there for a long time. And Wakia and Porsche, they've all been there just a long time. So that means one thing. That means that your employer is treating the employees good.
Yeah, and the Huddle House on Highway 280 presents Toots' Tips. A tough week for you last week, 4-6.
Well, I had some teams that really let me down. And, of course, it all started on the Plains. I really thought they would handle A&M. And speaking of that, Jim, I'm going to tell you something. The next game I coach will be the first, but I just saw some blunders in that game. I came from the sidelines that really just didn't sit well with me. You got a 240-pound running back. He had done run for over 100 yards, and he got down to crunch time. He was standing on the sidelines. I just don't understand.
So you want to start pulling for Alabama now?
No. As long as John played over there, I did. But most of the time I did. But there's some things going on down there that's a lot of people getting their eyebrows raised about.
We'll get to all of that in just a minute, but some big SEC matchups tomorrow. We begin with number 12 Georgia at number 23 Ole Miss at Vaught-Hemingway Stadium.
Well, I'm going to tell you, Ole Miss has played Florida State. They played them tough. They played Alabama pretty tough. Lost both games, and I'm looking for them to come off the schneid and play well and beat Georgia. Georgia's not impressed me.
They're unbeaten, though.
Yeah, they are unbeaten, but they struggle mightily with Missouri. And I just don't know how the jury's out on Missouri. But, again, I think that Hugh Freeze will get them guys going, and they'll win a ball game Saturday over in Oxford, Mississippi.
This Kelly kid, he lit Alabama up well over 400 yards throwing the ball.
And, Jimmy, that's almost unheard of to throw that many yards. Matter of fact, they have that many total yards against that University of Alabama. But he threw the deep pass very well. And, this is 2 years in a row he's done that against them. But Ole Miss defense, I think, just ran out of gas against Alabama. And, Alabama's got a great football team, no doubt about it. I'm telling you, I still think you take away the long pass, which I know you can't, and their offense may still be a little suspect. So,
But we're taking Ole Miss over Georgia.
Yes, sir.
And Georgia's a road trip over to Oxford, and of course the former defensive coordinator at Alabama's, and you had got Georgia.
Yep, Kirby Smart. So Kirby's got his feet wet, but he's played some close football games. But I really do think that Ole Miss will have something for him.
Another SEC matchup in Knoxville at Neyland Stadium, number 19 Florida at number 14 Tennessee.
Well, Jim, this thing's been going on for 11 years, and you can bet that Butch Jones has really just pounded that in them kids' head. Excuse me. They say none of these kids had anything to do with 11-game losing streak. They had something to do with a few of them. Florida, I don't know. They've played, if you want to call Kentucky a contender, that's about the only contender they've played. So again, 107,000 or 8,000 people will be gathered in by the riverbank. And,
come in on them boats, don't
yes,
they?
they do. And boy, it's a mess. I've been over there 2 or 3 times to watch ball games. Great vision to see a ball game, but Tennessee, I don't know. They played Virginia Tech over in Bristol and had a great ball game against them. I just think that they're going to break the jinx come Saturday, and old Smokey will have something to really howl about.
All right, Tennessee over Florida. Number 17, Arkansas at number 10, Texas A&M.
Well, this game's actually played in Arlington, I think it is. And that's at the
Jerry's house, ain't it?
And I'm going to tell you, I watched the A&M play Auburn last week, and they got a pretty good football team. That transfer from Oklahoma that throws the ball quite well. I don't know. I'm going to tell you, to be honest with you, I think you really have to just take a coin and flip it, and every which side it lands on, who's going to win. But I'm going to tell you, I like A&M. I really do, for some reason. Not just because they beat Auburn, but they've got a pretty good football team.
All right, go with A&M over number 17, Arkansas. In another SEC matchup, South Carolina is at Kentucky. That's at Commonwealth Stadium. A lot of people thought Kentucky would be better than what they are.
Well, a lot of folks thought South Carolina would be too. Again, I think this is one of them where you can just flip the coin. But seeing how they're playing at home at Kentucky, Kentucky seems to do pretty well there. I'm going to go with the Wildcats over the Chickens.
All right. Big matchup tomorrow night, 5 o'clock, I think, is the kickoff time at Jordan-Hare Stadium. Number 18, LSU, and a must-win for the Auburn Tigers.
Well, Jim, it is. And again, the natives are restless at Auburn. They want some results, and they want them quick. Auburn the recruiting classes they've had has been unreal. They've been in the top 3 or 4 recruiting for the last several years. They got a good football team. Some of the things he's done, I don't like personally, but of course, I don't have anything to do with it. But again, I really do think Auburn needs to get off the schneid if they're going to contend for the SEC West Championship, which is going to be tough for them because boy, they in murderer's row right now. A&M, then LSU, and then week after that, or 2 weeks away, Arkansas. And boy, I'm telling you, it's going to be tough. But here's this an upset special. The Auburn Tigers get off the schneid and beat LSU at Jordan-Hare.
This Fournette kid, preseason Heisman Trophy contender, and Auburn will have to stop him defensively.
Well, I think that's the key. I think if they can stop him, Forte, I think is his name, I think they'll have a good shot to win the football game. They got some kids. This Carson kid is supposed to be an outstanding pass rusher. They're starting a quarterback. I think this is a different one for them, a second different one. So they got to point out to put some pressure on.
Yeah, they got question marks at quarterback. LSU does.
Yes, so does Auburn. Yeah. But at any rate, I think if they stop. And last year, over at LSU, this kid just ran all over Auburn. They couldn't stop him. And when they got to him to tackle him, they couldn't tackle him. He's a good running back, but he's had a hurt ankle. Now, if he'll be 100%, we'd like to wait and see. But Auburn, this is a ball game. I think it's a must game. And this is a fearless prediction. I think if they lose to LSU and they play Louisiana Tech very lightly, you may see a coaching change before the season is done.
Well, you can tell the Tootster's kind of upset with things going on in Auburn right now.
There's some things going on. And, the second-string quarterback who had a pretty good ball game while he was in there, but, he ran out of bounds on 4th down to stop the clock. Only thing, he was 2 yards short of a first down.
He stopped the clock, though.
No, he didn't do that. But I don't know, Jim. They something. The chemistry just not what it needs to be down there right now.
This is not one of our picks, of course, with Kent State at Alabama. But talk a little bit about Alabama last week and their win. They fell behind 24-3, came back to take the lead. Looked like they had it in hand. Then Ole Miss scored 18 points in a row, and Alabama is fighting for their life last weekend.
Well, Jim, traditionally that game has got into a war. If you want to just talk about numbers, Ole Miss has beat 2 of the last 3, and I told you last week that Coach Saban was saying, no, it's not a rivalry game. It is, but it's not a revenge game. And I told you then, I'll tell you again, that was hogwash. It was, and Alabama prevailed, but Ole Miss really took them to the woodshed. Yeah. So
it's like Alabama's got them a quarterback now.
They do. Hurts, I believe, his name. This kid is playing very well, and a true freshman.
Yep.
But as far as Kent State, guess where Nick Saban went to college?
Yep.
Kent
Absolutely.
State.
So
will he roll up his sleeves and beat the fire out of him? Will he sort of take it easy on them? It just remains to be seen. I think Alabama will get a good lead, and then he'll call the dogs off.
Kind of sees after his alma mater, though. That's kind of neat, bringing them in and giving them a paycheck anyway.
Well, it's probably, over $1 million he'll pay them to come down there to take a whipping. But, again, I look for Saban he'll probably get a good lead. And when he puts his backups in, you ain't never seen the likes of coaching all your life that he'll do. But great guy, great coach, got a great football team. But they fixing to get into a pretty good stretch, too.
Some other key matchups tomorrow outside the SEC. Number 11, Wisconsin at number 8, Michigan State. That should be a good game.
I picked Notre Dame over Michigan State. That was one of my losses. But Michigan State's playing pretty well. Wisconsin, they may be a little banged up.
They're pretty good, too, though.
They are pretty good. Well, I don't take it just because they beat LSU.
No.
But at any rate, I like old Sparty to take care of that little old Wolverine.
Wolverine can be pretty bad now.
They can be a bad critter if you get them hemmed up. But old Sparty's a lot bigger, and he got that big old sword. So I think are they playing at East Lansing?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Now, I want you to watch this game right here.
Okay.
I believe that this is a possibility of a major upset. Number 20, Nebraska, goes into Ryan Field in Evanston, Illinois, to take on Northwestern.
Well, you can predict all you want to. Them corn shuckers will get it done over them Wildcats.
All right.
I picked them to lose. I picked Oregon to upset them last week. Didn't happen. So I think they rank number 20 now. Is that correct?
Yeah.
But I think Nebraska will go in and take care of business.
All right. Number 16, Baylor, and everybody knows Baylor's history of the last year. They're at McLean Stadium in Waco, and Oklahoma State comes calling. The Cowboys have had a disappointing season.
They have, Jim, and Baylor got a pretty good football team. There's been a lot of turmoil over there, but I think they'll take care of business against the Cowboys.
All right. Take Baylor over Oklahoma State. Also, Penn State at number 4, Michigan.
Michigan, Harbaugh's got them guys going strong right now. No contest. Penn State goes down.
All right. And to round out our top 10 games of the week, we shift to Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and Pittsburgh and UNC.
I think that Gene Chizik will have his defensive team ready to play, playing at Chapel Hill. You got to go with the Wolfpack.
Now, he said this week that Tar Heels, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He said that he was very disappointed in his defense. They played some team last week and gave up a lot of yards and a lot of points.
Mm-hmm.
He said, we didn't play. He said, we got to decide to play.
Well, that's true.
He's still getting paid by Auburn.
I think he is. Tuberville is. They don't mind giving you a little extra money when you leave from down there, I don't guess. But at any rate, and another key matchup, Jim, you didn't mention was Stanford and UCLA. Mm-hmm. That's going to be a good football game.
And before we go, Bobby Petrino, did they put a whooping on Florida State last week?
It couldn't happen to a nicer guy than Jimbo Fisher. He's been at Auburn, he's been at LSU, he's been around the SEC a little bit.
Well, Petrino was coming to Auburn too, wasn't he?
Well, the plane went to get him, but he failed to get on. I guess that's the day he rode his Harley. I don't know. But anyway, Jim, I watched a little bit of the Clemson game last night against Georgia Tech, and they got them a week from Saturday, I think it is, over in Death Valley. That'll be a pretty good football game. Louisville, are they for real? They sure got a good quarterback.
They sure do. All right, Toots' tips.
He's a front runner now for the Heisman
He
Trophy.
is. I mean, he scored more touchdowns than most teams have.
Yeah, that's very true.
Toots' tips brought to you by the Huddle House on Highway 280 in Sylacauga. And Toots will join us again next week for week number 4. He is, actually, it's week number 5 next week. He is 18-12 so far with his picks. You got to pick it up just a little bit now.
Well, you go from 9-1 to 4-6. That's enough to get you run off.
Well, you put your hat in the ring anyway. Toots' tips brought to you by the Huddle House. We'll be back with more Daybreak after this.